Welcome back to the Mastering Runeterra podcast with Jay and Bay, the #1 source for competitive Legends of Runeterra news and information. If you're looking for the best decks to play right now, be sure to check us out on Twitter at Master Runeterra or in our Discord. And if you want to take the next step in leveling up your game, check out our Runeterra team on Patreon, where we do weekly learning calls and one-on-one coaching. Now strap in and grab yourself some Poro snacks, because we are about to start Mastering Runeterra.
Welcome back to the Mastering Runeterra podcast with Jay and Bay. We got a great show for you guys today. Before we jump into everything, though, we have to thank all of our patrons and all of our subscribers over at MasteringRuneterra.com. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. It means the world. We couldn't do all this without you. And speaking of which, we have a $500 tournament coming up next Saturday, August the, I want to say 5th, looks like 6th, August the 6th. It's be $500, as well as a bunch of our pros and squad members are going to have bounties on them. So if you were the first person to give them a loss to beat them in the tournament, you're going to win yourself a cool MasteringRuneterra.com t-shirt of some variety that is going to be available on our merch store that we'll be launching soon. Man, I am full of information today, and by that I mean I'm struggling hard. Bay, what do you got? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing. I've been playing a lot on stream and stuff. Spoiler alert for some of this video: the meta is not my favorite at the moment. I do not very much enjoy it. I'm searching it. Like right now, I'm doing what I always do when the meta is not my favorite, and that's like looking for decks that are good enough, usually like tier 1.5. That I like really enjoy, and then I just play that deck, right? Because
that's the way to do it. I think that's the way to do it. Seriously, that's been a game changer for me until you said that. Like I've always known that about you, but like it never really like clicked. I don't know, in my head until you said it, and I was like, oh yeah, it doesn't feel like pulling teeth climbing the ladder when I just play whatever I like, and like I'll play it well enough, and I'll just start doing some climbing. Like you just find something, like you say, tier 1.5 that you like. That's where it's at.
Yeah, I don't need to play the absolute best deck to like climb. Would it be helpful for me to if I played the absolute best deck with the same enthusiasm that I played Ari Bard with or something? Then like I would probably climb more, but that's not possible, right? I can't play 4, 5, 6 hours at a time with a deck I don't like without getting like tilted, without like getting distracted. It just doesn't happen. So yeah, I pick the deck I like, even if it's not the best, and I run it.
Yeah. And you know what? Try stuff. There's been a lot of decks. So for instance, I've had a hate on for Ash LeBlanc for a long time because it just like hasn't ever really been good. It was like season
a hard
1
on, but you hate it. It's like the opposite. A hard on for hating.
Exactly. A hate on.
Okay. I get you.
Yeah, and it's just like never really been good. It's always been kind of weak, but it's gotten some buffs recently, and I noticed that someone on the ladder was like #1 on the ladder with it because it's supposed to have a good matchup into Bard Illaoi, which is everywhere at the moment, especially at the top of the ladder. Like the top like 6 or 7 spots were all of it yesterday. And I'm gonna say this: I like winning. And so I think, honestly, like it doesn't matter what the deck is. If you're just crushing people left and right, you're like, hey, you know what? I kind of like this. This is a good time. And so according to my stats, I played 10 games. I won 9 of them for a nice 90% win percentage. I don't think it's quite accurate. I think I was more like 13-2 or 14-2 or something. But
it's still respectable, I guess.
It was still like, just kicking butt straight up there. And it felt good, and it was fun to do something new. You know, hadn't frozen anything in a while. Just throw in freezes at people left and right. Troll chanting. Hadn't troll chanted in forever.
That card's good. That card does not suck.
Yeah, so...
I'm with you.
You try different things, because did I hate that deck. I was very against it. Push people would bring it every seasonals, and I'd be like, bro,
why are you doing this? Yeah.
Stop it.
I always liked the deck because... I always played Tribeam, and it was a very good matchup for Tribeam.
It was a very good matchup.
I played like Tribeam and Lee Sin, and you just always win. It was so nice.
Yeah.
So ladder matters this season. for us more than it normally would. The reason I'm talking about climbing so early, one, it's like a very short season. So trying to get the 7-2 split for seasonals is, we have less time to do it. But more importantly, at least for me, is world points. Like I need one more top 10 finish and I'm locked for worlds on ladder.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be putting
second already, right?
I finished second. Yeah. Which is like the same points as first. I don't know how that works.
I think so.
Okay. So, but I don't have very much time to do it. I have like a month, but realistically I have less time because the Flesh and Blood Pro Tour is the same day as seasonals. And so I have to start prepping for that. So I'm going to start a big push like this week and next week. I'm going to find what I like and I'm just going to play it. And we're just going to I'm just going to try to shoot up because I need to do it before I have to start devoting more and more time to testing for the Pro Tour.
Yeah. And all of that, like that weekend is coming up so fast. It's 4 weeks away.
Yep. And yeah, and I'm going to be traveling for like that whole week of the Pro Tour. I don't really get that week because I leave Monday. I don't get there till Tuesday because time zones and it's a far flight to France. And then I have to like get situated. I have to get from Paris to Lille or wherever it's called. Get situated, that kind of stuff. We have like, and then stuff starts on Thursday. So like, I don't have that last week. So like realistically, I have about a week and a half to secure a top 10 spot.
It's very difficult because you don't even know where to stop climbing. You don't know what's safe.
Yep. What I'm going to do is find a deck I like I said, but find a deck I like that wins. I'm going to hit my 65-70% win rate. And then one of these days, I do have the subathon tomorrow or today. I don't know what day this is going live. On Friday at noon, my subathon
I think
starts.
I think it'll be going live. So Friday, yeah. I think this will be going live on Friday.
Okay.
So
come say what
Bay's probably on a subathon right now. Go check it out.
Yep. I won't be doing too much try hard, probably. But start of next week, I plan on having a lot of streams where the entire goal is just me trying to hit rank 1. And it's going to be like, I'm not going to have chat up on my screen. Like, I'm going to be focused. I'm going to be like listening to music and stuff. I'm going to be talking, but in the way I talk when I play seasonals kind of thing. You know,
you just talk out loud about the game.
Talking out loud about what I'm doing and what I'm thinking. I'm not like responding to chat and stuff. And I'm just going to put in the hours. I'm just going to have a 6 to 8 hour stream of just in, you know what I mean?
Nice. When are you going to start doing that? Because I want to come. I'll come watch that
early next week, like Monday, Tuesday. That's the plan. Okay. Yeah. Normal stream schedule. At least that's the plan.
And I mean, like,
we'll see how it goes.
And worst case scenario, like, you still got next season. You got one more.
Yeah. No, I'm not like super worried about it. But it would be nice to just lock it up. You know what I mean? Lock it up. Yes. Maybe something happens next season. Maybe I hate the
all kinds of stuff could happen
so much.
Yeah.
Maybe I just suck. You know, like I'm still plat. I'm like plat 2 right now because I'm just bouncing around. I played like half of yesterday playing on dying decks. It was miserable.
Wait, why? Because your chat?
Because Prodigy and What Am I were like playing them and experimenting with it. And they're terrible. No. They were like worse than bad. Yeah. So bad.
I love those guys, but they're crazy. But that's how you find the gold, though.
That's how you find the gold.
You turn over every single rock. You leave nothing unturned. So they just released the rankings for seasonal points, and I'm like 20th, I think, and the top 22 make it. So I'm in the hunt. It's
for
a lot.
Seasonal points from your seasonal finishes, right? Okay.
Yeah, so it's game wins. Each game win is 1 point, except when you're in top 32 that they double for some reason, which I think is kind of fucked. Like you already get it. You already get an advantage from making top 32 because you get to play more games and accrue more points. Why do they have to now double?
Because the people that top seasonals are the people you want in Worlds.
Says who?
Viewers, competitors, right? Like the people.
What viewers?
Burn. Like you want your higher.
Yeah, you want to. I get it, and it's. I mean, the thing is, you already have an edge for making top 32. It's like you've doubled down on the edge.
I think you should be rewarded for making top 32.
Okay, and that comes back to being rewarded for climbing the ladder. It's bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it all comes together, baby.
So much ladder is so ridiculous. You're qualifying off of worlds for on ladder. Like
that should be
ladder's
doable.
just
Come
too
on.
important.
That I like that. They like ladder should matter. It's not your preferred way to play, but like
okay, but this is the thing.
Matter.
If you can't climb ladder, you're at a massive disadvantage.
Yes,
massive.
Yep.
Like I probably would have qualified for worlds last season had that multiplier not been a thing. I'd imagine. I don't know this 100% sure, but like I was 2 games off, so I got to think that like one person above me would have like, if not more. And so like it just the advantage is it's hard to overcome. Frankly, like anyone that doesn't have the time to put in to climb ladder, you are just at a huge disadvantage. So all I'm saying is there should be a second lane.
Yeah, just it won it. That's your second lane. The vast majority of people will not get rewarded for ladder. You either have to have like top 10 ladder finishes, which is like way harder than we make it sound, right? Way harder than we make it sound.
Yeah, I've never done it.
Yeah, it's hard, right? And especially for like not average players, but like average really good players. You know, like we're talking like mid-masters players. The average seasonal competitor would absolutely struggle to top 10 ladder.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I forget that sometimes because like the people we interact with a lot are people who are top 10ing ladder, who are top 32ing a lot. It's also like really hard. So that's like world points very hard to take advantage of. It's very hard to take advantage of not only getting to the spot where you get the 7-2 tiebreakers on ladder, but then 7-2ing. Right. So like the people who are able to do that, like absolutely should get rewarded for it. I get what you're saying, but are you
7-2ings? I don't think 7-2ing is that hard.
No, I agree. But you have to top 32 ladder, or you know, I'm throwing out a random number. It's usually like 35. This season it was way lower.
Basically what I'm trying to say is make gauntlet matter, and also like that's like a more fair way of like doing things.
Yeah,
for
the
like,
average
I don't know,
player, it
best
does.
of fucking 3 ladder. Give me best of fucking 3.
For the average player, it absolutely does because it gets you into seasonal, right? Which like to us is like a bygone.
Okay, but I want Gauntlet to count as much as ranked. I want it to get you into seasonals. I want you to get the tie break into seasonals. I want you to qualify you for worlds.
Yeah, I would love that.
That's what I want.
It would have to be reworked, but yes, I would love that as well as like an end goal. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, sorry, I'm ranting about this too much.
Okay, we'll pivot. We'll pivot. I got you.
Okay.
So, new set. It's out. Meta is now solidifying. We have the best decks. I'm gonna name them off. Ready?
I think it's churning still, but yeah, okay.
It is. It's still, but like it's not just like waves now, right? Things are coming and going.
Yeah, there's some stuff at the top.
Stuff is rising up, and the best deck, currently, basically bar none, is Bard Illaoi. Top of the pile right now. Almost 60% win rate on ladder. It's absurd. And not just like 60% win rate for like a day. This is like 3 days going, 4 days going, right? And then below it, we have things like Kaisa is putting up respectable win rates. Other stuff is coming and going, but those are the two that have like stayed the most.
I don't know how people lose with Kaisa. That deck's so fucking good.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's absurd.
I think people are just playing that deck really terribly because I think its numbers should be a little higher, frankly.
I think people are still trying to find the right list. And when it is,
drop your auctions, people.
Yeah, I don't think you should be playing auction. So I think both those decks currently are a step above the rest, and anything else that has put up numbers close to those decks or equal to those decks has basically been a flash in the pan. Like maybe the deck's very good, but it was particularly well positioned that day, right? And that's why we saw those kind of numbers, right? We saw like Annie Elise or Annie Gwen like putting up good numbers. It was like a go hard catalog deck because for that particular day it was like really good. Annie Jin was particularly good for that day, right? Aurelia Azir was particularly good for a few days, like that kind of stuff. But Bard Illaoi, Kaisa have stayed at the top, and I think both of those decks probably should be touched in a balance patch. Not just because they're doing good right now, but like you've played. There's so many times where like you're just playing against them and you're like, I just can't do anything. I'm just losing.
Yeah, Bard is. It's not so much that Bard is like overpowered. It's sometimes Bard just does like you just hit like fucking 5 times on turn 2 or 3 or something. You just like go off on someone,
and that's too. I have proposed changes.
Okay, wait, hold on.
No, you go
Before
first.
we get to that, though, I have a hot take on this.
Okay.
I think Bard is an interesting one. I'm not sure where I'm landing yet on Bard. I kind of like the Bard decks. They are definitely strong, though.
Yeah.
They're definitely they're good. Bard Illaoi, I honestly don't think is like the end all be all. I think Kai'Sa is actually like much better and much more difficult. I've tried lots of decks to try to beat that deck, and like, fuck, man, sometimes they just fucking get you.
Yep.
And there's just like I killed all your other things. I killed Kai'Sa. I killed second Kai'Sa. I killed
the void
like
bomb.
top spell shield. Killed Kai'Sa,
Yeah,
and like it just never seems like it's enough. Whereas I don't know, the Bard Illaoi decks, I seem to beat like a decent amount of time with a variety of things. And this is why the Ash LeBlanc deck is like has risen up, because it's like good against both of those. Theoretically, definitely Bard Illaoi.
I think less so Kai'Sa,
and so
but definitely.
I feel like you can target Bard Illaoi. You can make decks that are good into that,
absolutely,
like real good into it. Because at the end of the day, it's like, I don't know, like some big dudes.
It's just
it's
just stat checks spells over and over again.
Yeah. So you just play a game plan that just doesn't care about that.
Yeah.
That's just like, I'm going to do something that's like linear and like doesn't give a fuck and totally ignores what you're doing.
Yep. I was winning that matchup with
or a deck that just has
quite a bit.
Yeah, Auction Lee is supposed to be good into both decks. Or just play a deck that like just doesn't care, right? Like, okay, we got some big dudes. Cool. Exactly. Like Auction Lee or something that goes like under it or around it.
Don't play Auction Lee, by the way. That wasn't I wasn't telling you viewers to play Auction Lee. Don't do that.
I also went and looked at the stats and was like, hey, this deck's good into both of them, and then took a try and like I won a couple games and then was like, no. Like I won. So when we were talking about feel, I won like, I don't know, 3 out of 4 games. It was just like, this is not the business.
This ain't it. Yeah.
It's
fun.
It's not very good.
It's gonna win games.
It's super
like,
fun.
Not
and
there.
It wins.
It's not there.
Yeah, it's just like a bunch of pieces of stuff into like a thing. It's not really a nice cohesive, well-oiled machine that you want.
It needs a little more glue.
Kai'Sa decks though. Yeah. It'll be a deck one day, I think.
Yeah.
Just needs some more tools.
I agree.
Kai'Sa decks though, I feel like are a real problem. Like unless you're going underneath them, like how do you like stop them?
Yep.
Like it's so tough. Like, oh, you just killed Kai'Sa right away, or you try to hold her hostage, and like it's so easier said than done.
Yeah.
There's
you give
like,
her tough spell
they
shield.
have so many tools. Yeah, they're playing the 2-mana what's it called? Turn her into a landmark and back again.
Oh yeah. I call it Zonia's, but it's
Shrima card.
Something Hourglass. No,
Ancient Hourglass.
Ancient Hourglass. Yeah, we call it Zonia's because it's a League of Legends item. Zonia's Hourglass. Yeah.
Yeah, so they weren't playing that originally, and I went to kill her, and they were like, Ancient Hourglass, and I was like, oh.
I was playing.
Well, fuck me then, I guess.
I was playing Tribeam, and I just scorched the Hourglass. I was like, huh. And then they killed me. Yeah. And they play another one.
Of course they did. You just spent like 8 mana.
That's great.
Doing nothing. Yeah, so they have Spell Shield, they have Rite of Negation, they have Ancient Hourglass. It's just like, it's so tough to actually kill them. And so if you're not racing them and you can't ever kill them, it's like, what do you do?
Yep.
What do you actually do?
A lot of
that, and so that's my prediction. I think long run, that deck ends up being more of a problem.
Yes. So I agree with you. I think people play Kai'Sa bad. I think Bard Illaoi is really easy to beat people with. Kai'Sa's a little more difficult because it requires a bit of nuance. People are going to be like, oh, you just play Kai'Sa and Void Bomb and you blow people up. And that's true. But like to avoid,
I think it's almost like an Action Sivir kind of.
It plays a lot more like Action Sivir. You have to really like manipulate priority to really take advantage of like Kai'Sa, because you don't want her to die and stuff like that, and you need priority to get it. So like a lot of times turn 5 Kai'Sa's like not correct. You'll like turn 6. That way you can do something like you turn either 5 Kai'Sa post like attack token on your opponent's turn. They've cast something, whatever. Maybe you can finagle something. Then you can get like Kai'Sa and you open supercharge into second skin or something, right? You supercharge something and then you second skin. Now she's unkillable. Or you wait, bide your time, find your spot, make it happen. You can use the first Kai'Sa as bait just to get spell shield on her with second skin or tough even after she dies, and then follow through with the next one. But the deck is too good. It's too good, and it's like impossible to interact with. I've played so many decks that are built specifically to beat Kai'Sa, and then I just lose to Kai'Sa, right?
Yep.
Like you're just like, oh, well, I die. Even with interaction, it's like, oh, I'm dead.
Yeah, that's the thing that people don't understand. Like what you're talking about right now, like if you as the Kai'Sa player keep 5 unit mana up, and you like your opponent now has to keep up all their spell mana to deal with your Kai'Sa and potentially whatever other spells that you now have to protect her, like H Hourglass. So maybe you have to keep up a lot of mana.
Yeah.
If you're just passing back and forth, the Kai'Sa player is just gonna like play out little shit units, then drop an A bomb on you, or drop like 2 Kaisas in one turn, or drop a Kai'Sa with a bunch of backup with Rights and Ancient. Like they're just gonna get you, and they're under no pressure because you can't cast anything because your mana is held off.
Absolutely.
And so that's why if these people like Kai'Sa,
bam,
windmill slamming them
they killed her
onto the table,
yeah,
and they killed her.
Damn it.
That's the reason I think exactly why that deck does not have like a 65% win percentage.
Yeah, I think the deck's insane. So I'm going to touch on Bard Illaoi first because my proposed changes to that deck are faster. I want to see Bard go from round start on his origin to round end. This was not originally my idea. I saw a lot of other people talk about this. So basically, it just puts the 3 chimes in your deck on round end instead of round start, which doesn't sound like it changes too much, but it prevents any turn 1 chime, and it it drastically lowers the chance of you hitting a chime on turn 2 or turn 3. Drastically.
Do you think maybe though it just like makes it so that your deck like on the later rounds has a lot more charms in it?
No.
Because you haven't drawn them early.
Yeah,
and
but
it's
like
in the later rounds, you're just like 3.
Technically, yes, but like to a negligible amount, and that's like better for you as the opponent. You know what I mean? Like if they don't have the stats. So I want to see that change to Bard.
That's
I
interesting.
don't want to see any other change to Bard or the Bard engine. I think I don't want to over nerf it. It's not that good. It's quite strong, but like decks are allowed to be strong. The Illaoi package I think is too good. I don't exactly have a change.
And only by a bit.
Only by a bit, yeah. Just a smidgen.
Only by like a
hit.
Like make her like a 1/5. Why is she so fucking fat?
Very good. Make her 1/5. And if that's
she comes down and why does she come down and nothing can block her and trade with her? Like what the fuck? How's that fair?
If you want to tweak it some more, if that's not enough, you could make the 3-mana warrior, whatever, the lady, a 3/2. If that's not enough somehow, you can make Tentacle Smash 5 mana, but I don't think you need to do that. And
yeah, even just the 3/3 being a 3/2 might be enough.
I think like if you make Illaoi a 1/5 and maybe you make the 3/3 a 3/2, that's fine. Like that will be enough changes. I think people tend to like over knee-jerk react with like nerfs and stuff. We're like, we have to shut this shit down, right? Like nerf this, honestly, and that, and like you don't need to do that.
I wouldn't even do it. I wouldn't even touch that deck to start with.
I would. It's
okay. Maybe
it's really good.
Yeah, maybe like
it's really good. It's
Tentacle Smash is fucking insane.
Yeah,
like that if anything, that could get touched.
Bonkers.
What do you do there? You turn to 5? You have 5 mana?
Yeah, that was the problem. Is I didn't know how to change Tentacle Smash. Because like, is it any of the easily tweakable stuff? I don't like to change mana costs. I think it's lazy.
You know what we do? No, let's make it 2.
Spawn 2.
Make it +2.
Could. Yeah.
Spawn 2.
Like that's the easy nerf.
I think that's totally fine. I think it's still playable then too.
It's probably still good, but it's more focused in a. You could pretty much only play it in a tentacle deck, which is good, right?
Where it should sort of be.
Yeah. So that's Bard Illaoi.
So I like cards. I do like cards when they go into other decks, but
I think it needs to be touched. Not a lot, just a bit. Especially like with stat stick type decks. If you change just a bit, it's enough. Because what usually happens is like you're just like a half step behind. Their things are like just a little too big for you to trade into, right? They're just slightly ahead of yours, but they're slightly ahead of yours over and over and over and over and over again, and it builds up into this huge snowball advantage.
Look at Scouts.
Exactly.
When that 3/3 became a 3/4.
Poppy.
It was like
Poppy
decks,
a good
one,
yeah, just in general. Yeah, like it's just stat sticks you. But when it's not stat sticking you as hard, you can deal with it. Is it still strong? Yeah.
Okay.
I
want to hear Kai'Sa.
So my Kai'Sa take is, I've seen people not agree, but again, I'm going to say like Kai'Sa should be able to do what Kai'Sa does, and it should, because like what Kai'Sa does is cool. It's really cool. She gets a bunch of keywords. She attacks. She oozes your opponent's team. It's cool. However,
the Uzi thing is weird as fuck, by the way. I never know how that's going to work ever. I'm just like, I just drag stuff up in I constantly to try and figure out how the fuck it is. It's really weird.
I manually did the math a couple times just to make sure I understood it, and then I just I every time. Now that I have an understanding of how it works. But yeah, I want to see the changes I want with Kai'Sa is I want to make her and what she does much more interactable without removing the power of what she does. And so what I want to do is I want to have her champ spell be something else. I don't want her champ spell to be supercharge. I think
either that or make it 4 mana.
Or make it 4 mana. Yeah. I want that to change. I think a 4 mana supercharge is totally okay. If they want to go that direction, that's fine.
The three mana supercharge is also just waiting to be a problem.
It's really goddamn good. Yeah, I'm down with supercharge being 4 mana. One of those two. But the bigger change is that you make second skin slow speed. Because then the problem I have with Kai'Sa, and the way I win with Kai'Sa is I play Kai'Sa when you're kind of tapped low on mana. I go to my turn, I supercharge something, second skin, attack. You can't react. You die. Right?
Yeah.
That's how you win. But if second skin is slow speed, not only can you interact with Kai'Sa, almost more importantly, you can respond to it by killing what she's targeting. Or doing something like that. You can Noblify it. You can Vile Feast Valor. You can do all sorts of things, right? You could Quicksand to remove the keywords on the unit she's targeting. It opens up all this counterplay. But she still gets to do the big powerful payoff if you don't have any interaction. And I think that's fine. I think that's okay. And then after those changes, I don't want to see Void Abomination touched. I think a very powerful win condition that is interactable, it's just hard to interact with, is okay on turn 8 if you build your deck around it. I think that's fine.
Yeah. It's when recently has anything 8+ been playable?
Yeah, I mean, we don't play Swain anymore because Leviathan's such a liability, right? I mean,
yeah, but the Arsenal hasn't seen play it forever, and now it definitely will never see play after Scout doesn't get hit.
Everyone
anymore.
In comments currently raging, saying, "But the Arsenal's worse than." And it is, yeah, it is. Void Abomination's a better card, and that's fine. We're allowed to have super powerful cards,
I think it's cool too. I like that card.
Yeah. I also think that once you're able to deal with Kai'Sa and what she's doing in a much more manageable way, maybe supercharges 4 mana, second skin slow, you now have the resources to put off or deal with Void Abomination, or push your advantage so that you're not on a board even / negative board state when Void Abom hits the table, and you can win the game around it. I think that would be enough. I think that honestly might be too much. Those two things put together already. I definitely don't want to see more nerfs.
I think might be. Yeah. And okay. So I'm with you on all these things. Real quick about the expensive spells. I miss the Aesol days when you could play Aesol. You can't play Aesol anymore. Though to be fair, he came down on 8 a lot. He got cheated out.
Eclipse, yeah.
But yeah, so it's, I remember when Riot said they wanted games to be around 8 turns on average, or 7 turns on average. Was I the only one that was like, what are you going to do to the game then?
Yeah,
because we were going Aesol, other Aesol, play your Nasus on turn 10, super combo you, that was the norm. So it's not surprising that the game is now a bunch of people just super combo finish, coming at each other, and the game being done by turn 7 or 8. That's what they kind of said they wanted to do. So I saw this coming a long time ago.
I feel like I feel like it probably was close to average on turn 7 to 8, maybe 8, but a lot of games ended on turn 6 or something with the faster decks. Plunder was killing people. TF Fizz was a turn 6, turn 7 deck, and I don't know if they meant win, literally game ends, or if games decided. But I can't remember.
I don't think
it might be game ends, yeah. But the game sped up.
Yeah, no one, only pros do to decide. Okay. Speaking of the meta though, so you said you don't like this.
It's not
meta,
my favorite,
and I understand why. There's no Ahri decks, there's no Ionia decks really that are good. Why would you like it? I actually like it. I've been having a good time.
You like the linear aggressive strategies quite a bit. You like your Fizz Ribbon. You like your Zero.
Yes and no. I mean, I didn't play Aziralia when it was the hotness. I played Thresh Nasus. It was fuck this deck. Blades are stupid. I like playing Dark Horse decks. Like I'm like, look, for God's sake, I'm playing Ash LeBlanc right now.
It's
There's nothing I love more than being like, didn't see this coming, did ya? Fucking left field. I love it because that's fun. Being like, hey, I'm the biggest, strongest dude, and I like punch you in the face and you fell over. It's like that's not fun for me. So I like this meta. And to be fair, it is still very early new, but this is the thing that I like. The decks are fucking new.
Yeah.
They're all pretty new. I mean, Bard Illaoi was maybe a thing, but like, it didn't see like a lot of play. Kai'Sa, new. Ash LeBlanc, that I didn't see play before. Azir was like dead for a long time, pretty much. It's like Thralls is gone. All the old stuff is gone. It used to be that for the longest time, old decks would just rise back up. It was like, oh, you cut something down. Okay, now Lee's good again. Now Feel the Rush is good again. Now like Action Sivir is good again. Like that kept happening. And that was boring as fuck. I hated that. It was just like, yeah, I've played these decks before ad nauseum. And now it's like there's lots of brews, so many brews, right? Like, come on. There's like crazy shit. Like just crazy. People are trying out all kinds of stuff. That's why I like this meta. And that's what I want to see all the time. I just want, like, that's what you get in Magic. When a new set comes out, typically shit just gets like turned upside down and it's like a bunch of new decks. Mostly. But definitely when there's a rotation, it's like a brand new world. And usually they like change things up quite a bit when a new set comes out. Whereas in LOR, new cards will come out and like for a while it'll be like, I don't even fuck about those because they're like the first Shurima cards, so they suck and they don't have any backup. Man, that one came full circle. But you know what I mean? Or like, oh, there was a bunch of nerfs and like they just touched the top 3 decks and then the next 3
just
that we've
up,
also had for forever just moved up. And that was my biggest gripe. And so this is new. It's new stuff. And you know, I'm not playing Kai'Sa, I'm not playing Bard Illaoi, so I'm not playing the best decks. And sometimes I'm being smashed by them. But I don't know, just playing with new stuff. Like, isn't that the fun of it?
It is.
Like,
I went on a big rant actually.
I'm liking
and I
it.
uploaded it to YouTube, where it was my big rant about how I don't
Tell
like
me
the
more.
meta and I don't like the way the game's going with like the more aggressive win condition. Like most decks have a win condition that it's very hard to deal with. And like your game plan is just to enact your win condition before your opponent does, basically, or just have yours be better, stronger, harder to interact with. And I talk about how about in the middle of the rant, I like kind of stop and say something along the lines of, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this meta. This is totally fine. Like, and part of it was probably by design. It's just not the way I like to play the game. And that's why I'm whining. So like, you know, to a lot of people, this is a fantastic meta. Like you said, there's a lot to like about this meta. If you enjoy these kind of things, if you like these, like, you know, Demacia, Bilge, like mid-rangey decks, then like, hell yeah. If you want to like start experimenting with some Dark Horse decks, then like, yeah, absolutely. It's just the Dark Horse decks I like to play are bad. And the decks that I like to, like, all my favorite cards, I can't play because they suck. And that just makes me sad. That's my main gripe. And I understand that's selfish.
Okay, you have to have some more favorite cards. You got Ari. What else you got? Zoe,
Homecoming. I do like Aphelios. I don't want to play the Winding Light style of like Aphelios though. I like the old school Targon, and I understand those days are gone, and that makes me very sad. But yeah,
and that's fair. There's always like metas. Like there's been lots of metas where like it sucks when you feel like there's nothing there for you.
I always find something. I think always find something.
Exactly. So something to rise
I usually
up.
just take up like
You were a deep lover for a while.
I was a deep lover for a while. And there was the worst meta that I ever played for me. I ended up really, really enjoying Shen Jarvan and like crushing people with that.
Oh yeah,
and like I never would have thought I would have.
That was a good time.
I always find something. Normally in card games, when this happens to me, I take a break for like just a few days or like a week, and then come back and I find something and I fall in love with it and I'm all good. But like the big problem, and I think honestly, this is why you always hear streamers and YouTubers whine so much, is you don't get to take a break.
No. Right?
Like you just don't. Like if I take a break, I can't pay my bills. And so it just kind of like adds up. You don't get to like take a step back for a bit and then come back in, which I usually just have to, what I do now to combat that. I understand this isn't really relatable for a lot of people, right? They don't have that issue. Is
burnout's real for everyone.
True. People get burned out of metas all the time. is I just find one thing I enjoy in the game, even if it's not super competitive, and I just do that thing for a while. Which is currently what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to find the one thing. I played Twisted Fate Katarina today instead of Twisted Fate Annie, and like I liked that version a lot better. Because I didn't like the TF Annie very much. And it was fun. I'll probably play a lot of that if it continues to like do well for me. Stuff like that. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's so important. It's so important. That's the one lesson that we hark on today is, the game's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to be having a good time. None of us are getting rich. None of us are getting famous. I'm getting a lot of bitches, but mostly just because I keep adopting dogs. But other than that, like what's why we here, right? We're here to have a good time. We're here to play some fucking games. So like enjoy yourself. And even if you want to be winning, if you're having a good time, like the winning will like come with it. It's important to because you'll be playing your best when you're having fun. And try Ash LeBlanc. Seriously, everyone out there, I've been kicking some ass with it. Deck is you might not have another meta where it's good for a long time. So give it a try. It's really good. I think we have to wrap things up. It's a bit of a short one today, this week, because we just did one on Monday because we were late. But next week, I'm excited to see where we end up, where the meta's at. And then things are really going to start rolling because we're going to be real close to seasonals. We're going to have our $500 tournament for all our subscribers and patrons on the 5th. And then we're going to have the GG Tour $500 tournament on the 20th. And seasonals, bam, next weekend after that. And I'm pretty sure there's also going to be a balance patch like the week before seasonals. I'm like pretty sure. So that might throw a wrench into everything.
Cool. I like that. I like when they just go like,
have they
go?
They've done that before, right? Before seasonals.
They've done Worlds.
I know they did Worlds, but that was an emergency one. That was an emergency. They were like,
this is too good.
But has it ever just landed like a week before seasonals? So. I feel like it
maybe
2 weeks.
2 weeks is standard for like a close patch.
Yeah, I'll try to find out. I've been poking our people at Riot, trying to find out when exactly if a balance patch will be happening. We'll let you know if we find out. All right, kids, that's it for us. Hope to see you guys on Saturday. Come win yourself some money and a t-shirt and all that awesome stuff. And watch out for the merch store that'll be launching soon. Click subscribe, all that good shit. We'll see you next week. Peace.